Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Tricked Before. This time, the Pirates of Orion. Was it Orion or Orion? I can't remember how they said it. And you'll understand why I can't remember when you listen to the episode. Speaking of things to remember, the Quarterly Book Club. Yeah, It's All Been Done Presents has the Quarterly Book Club. Why quarterly? Because you're busy and books are long. In its third year, we're reading young adult novels for 2019. You can watch a rapid discussion of our first quarter selection, Point, Claw by Amber J. Kaiser on the It's All Been Done Presents YouTube channel. While we're there, check out the YouTube channel. All kinds of cool stuff there, behind the scenes stuff. Lots of the Quarterly Book Club. Cool little videos. That's what they do on YouTube. If you're not familiar with YouTube, check it out. It's youtube.com, youtube.com. Anyway, It's All Been Done Presents has a channel there. It's awesome. Many great videos. And it's another place you can listen to us if you haven't already done it there. Speaking of cool places, patreon.com/IABD. That's the way to support us. You get more videos, more podcasts, more contents. You pay up to a certain level, you get that super duper extra content. I do it so I can hear the stuff that gets cut out of these It's All Been Tricked. I gotta hear all the great stuff I said that needed to get cut out. Speaking of great stuff that does need to get cut out, Squatch Smashers. Yeah. For decades in rural Western Pennsylvania, the government has been capturing, containing, and storing dangerous cryptids in huge underground catacombs in a top-secret program known as Project No Talkie Abouty. They also built a town to house the most notorious and strange criminals from the Witness Relocation Program right over top of those catacombs. That town is called Dunglewood. Now the government's precious secrets are about to be revealed to all as one of their experiments has proven to be too strong and too stupid to be contained. Mostly too stupid. So check out the Squash Smashers. If you haven't yet, so much going on there. Just like in this episode of It's All Been Tricked Before, we discussed the Pirates of Orion and It's All Been Tricked Before.
Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Tricked Before. Your relatively normal hosts are here.
This is Steven.
And Keith.
Jimmy-Jerome, and we are joined as often again by...
I'm Marianne.
And we've got a returning guest.
Hello, it's Nick.
And a brand new guest.
Hi, it's Dee.
Dee, hello.
Hello.
We like to grill our new guests. What is your Star Trek experience, background, knowledge?
I grew up on Next Generation and then watched all the shows from there, and then I watched the original series at the very last.
Nice.
So I would say I'm a respectable Trekkie.
Did you like the original series even though you watched it last?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever seen the animated?
No, I haven't, so this is a very exciting new experience.
If you're familiar with the original, you know how the third season was kind of The animated series is about on par with the third season. So, as you just got a taste of.
We do like consistency.
Today we're... today we're talking the episode The Pirates of Orion, which for some reason is pronounced Orion. We'll get to that. Yeah. But what are your first impressions of the Pirates of Orion?
They like green.
The green skin. Goes with the green skin.
Yeah.
I found it frustrating.
How could you possibly?
I don't know. I was just like, we need to remain neutral, but yet we do everything to not be neutral. Like,
as long as they don't get caught. But they left the crew alive on the freighter, so that whole neutral thing wasn't going to work out anyway.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I didn't.
It was very frustrating in their Orions.
So okay. Yeah. It is well established in Star Trek there is a species called the Orions that are spelled this exact same way.
And pronounced Orions?
And pronounced Orion, because we talked about Vina, the Orion slave girl in the cage. We've seen other Orions, but for some reason...
Devna is one of our favorites of this season.
But for some reason, in this episode, the green skin pirates are called Orions. And everybody calls them that, and I don't know why. I would really like to know why.
Because they didn't have a sexy green girl with them. That's when they're called Orions. That's the female version of them.
The Orions are the female version of the Orions?
Yes.
There you go.
Retconning that right now.
I said they're hipster and it's too mainstream to pronounce it that way.
That's fair.
So anyway, if you're looking at Memory Alpha, the
cut out.
semi-official Star Trek online encyclopedia, they include these Orions with the rest of the Orions. They're not a separate species that spells it the same as Orion but pronounces it differently. So that was my retconning, was maybe it's just a different species that spells their name the same way but
and are
pronounces
also
it
green.
wrong.
No, I would.
Well, they're a different shade of green, I guess.
I've got a retcon. It's their regional dialect within the Orion species.
But Kirk and Spock say it the wrong.
Well, no, they knew where they were from.
They know about the dialect.
Yeah, so they're like, oh, these are the Orions because they're from that region of
Maybe
Orion.
they're actually Cree. Because some of them look normal, then others are blue, and you're just like, I think one of them is green too, and you're just like, What happened?
That's
here?
the alternate episode. Captain Marvel shows up at the end and saves them.
Right, totally.
We have, because this is a special live episode at MadLab Theater. Live! All the audience was thankfully being very quiet for us. We appreciate it.
I was just
So glad. We've got a few little fun activities to intersperse in the main conversation. You want to do yours first?
Yeah, so we were gonna do all of the Sulu and Uhura lines.
From Wrath of Khan.
From
in
Wrath of
full.
Khan.
In full.
My God.
I think we already had some volunteers to read those parts.
Who wants to do
Yay.
Sulu? Oh, right there. Keith, what about you?
Keith?
Hi there.
Does anyone want to be Uhura? Oh,
Marianne
right there.
does.
Marianne, all right. So, you guys have the scripts there. This is every line from Wrath of Khan.
Leaving Section 14 for Section 15. Aye, Captain. Course change projected.
Captain, I'm getting something on the distress channel. This is the Starship Enterprise. Your message is breaking up. Can you give your coordinates? Repeat, this is Starship.
May I remind the Captain that if a starship enters the zone, estimating 2 minutes to intercept, now entering the neutral zone.
Captain, I've lost their signal.
Shields activated.
They're jamming all frequencies, Captain. Now what's that supposed to mean?
Perfect.
Enterprise, this is Admiral Kirk's party on final approach.
That's really close.
Yeah.
I'm delighted. Any chance to go aboard the Enterprise? Admiral on the bridge. Aft thrusters. Ahead 1/4 in post power. We are clear and free to navigate. Aye, sir.
Admiral Kirk, I have an urgent compig from Space Lab Regula 1. For you, sir, Dr. Carol Marcus.
My word.
Aye, sir. Transmission jammed at the source, sir. Aye, sir.
Stop energizers. The course plotted for Regular 1, Admiral. Ready, sir. So much for the little training course, or cruise.
Space Station Regula 1, please come in. Dr. Marcus, please respond. This is the Enterprise call. It's no use. There's no response from Regula 1. No, sir. No, nothing. Aye, sir.
Rely into it in our section. This quadrant, sir, and slowing.
I'm getting a voice message. They say their chamber's coil is overloading their comm systems.
Trying, sir. I can't get power, sir.
Mr. Scott on the screen, sir. Admiral, the Commander Reliant is signaling us. He wishes to discuss terms of our surrender. Admiral? On screen, sir.
Phasers locked. Sir, you did it. Approaching Regula in Space Lab Regular 1.
Space Station Regula 1, this is Starship Enterprise. Please, come in.
Doesn't she say that like 50 times, though? Like, it's on loop.
Space Station Regula 1. Do you read? Space Station Regula 1, this is Enterprise. Please acknowledge. This is Enterprise. Do you read me? Space Station Regula 1. Do you read? Please come in.
Anything?
No response, sir. This is Enterprise calling Space Lab Regula 1. Respond, please.
Half her lines.
Jeez.
Dr. Marcus, come in, please. Please acknowledge signal, please. Sir, we won't leave you behind.
Admiral on the bridge.
Aye, sir. You're on, Admiral.
Target, sir. Phaser lock inoperative, sir.
Aye, sir.
Full stop, sir. Wait.
Aye, sir. Commander Reliant, this is Enterprise. Surrender and prepare to be boarded. Enterprise to Reliant. You are ordered to surrender your vessel. Respond. Reliant! Come in, Reliant. You are ordered to surrender your vessel. Enterprise Reliant, you are ordered to surrender your vessel. Respond. No response, Admiral.
Aye, sir. We're not going to make it, are we? Honors! Huh.
Yep, there it is. That's all.
I wonder if at any
There's no
point
with a U for
Shatner
some
walked
reason.
over. It's like, do you really think they need to keep saying all those lines over and over?
They had twice as many, and then he...
No, exactly. It's like, regular one, I mean, could
Well-
I be saying the words?
While we're on voices real quick, while we're on voices, I'm not sure if all of you are aware, but Lieutenant Eric's, the three-armed, three-legged
Yes.
guy, is voiced by Scotty, Jimmy Doohan.
Jimmy-Jerome.
And I just
What?
really wanted them to have a conversation.
Oh, God, that was
I know
great.
Nick can do Arak, Eric's. I heard you back there.
Well, I already forgot the
already
voice.
forgot.
No, it's more like this.
It's more like this. He also says the word five. Very weird.
No.
Higher
It's
up.
Higher,
you
higher.
remember the robot elders in Futurama? That's what
Barely.
it's Silence.
Silence.
Yeah, there you go. That's it.
Warp Factor 3, Captain.
Warp Factor 3, Captain. Also looking at level 5. I just remember he said 5, very peculiar, and I started mimicking, and I saw
So-
everyone look at me. I was just like, I'm going to stop.
Nick, your homework is I want a 30-second clip of Scotty and Eric's arguing.
Yeah, okay. I can do that.
Jimmy Doohan also voiced O'Shea, who was one of the freighter crew. I think he was the captain.
Yeah,
the
O'Shea's
Orion
the
captain, the transporter chief in this episode as well.
Can
he
I
was
just-
doing lots of work.
I know the animation is what it is, but can
Yes.
I point out that the captain of the Huron, whatever, he looked like he was on Ambien. like, and I know that's the animation style because like it is what it is, but like I was just like he just really looks like he's just like feeling good about
They were-
stuff when shit's going wrong.
Very heavily lidded the entire time.
Oh yeah.
Do they have the McCoy bags under the eyes?
No.
All right.
I thought Jimmy Doohan did a pretty good job as O'Shea. Majel was super obvious as
Yep.
the lieutenant,
It
and
almost like
Takai
he
was
looked like Chapel too, the character.
yeah, and Takai was the other one
Who
on the
who
freighter.
was you saying that was on the bridge?
The bridge of the
McCoy.
freighter.
Oh, there was a continuity error.
Yeah, so Kirk's like, McCoy, Spock. McCoy's calling you to sickbay right now. And then there's a shot of Kirk and McCoy standing right behind him. The continuity errors in the animated series are numerous. They reused a lot of shots.
I enjoyed when the nurse was massaging the guy's back. And
Yeah.
he needs surgery, sir.
There was
touching him.
no like sign of blood or anything, but she just knew that.
It's
that's
all
what it is.
internal bleeding.
Oh yeah, that's what. Yeah, there was no.
By me rubbing his back, it will push the blood away from that
Very
area.
educated.
As she was instructed, was Chapel tends to the wounded crewman by caressing him.
Also, can we also? They say the word bastard, and this was on Saturday mornings, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he the first time he is where he was
I
called
missed
a
it too.
bastard. We were all laughing because he said something different. It's like you Vulcan-blooded bastard or whatever, but he didn't say the word. And then at the end, he said it.
Really?
Because
I missed
speciesism makes us laugh every time.
You're allowed to be speciest in the 70s.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
Dag-blooded Vulcan was one of the terms tossed
Right.
out in this episode.
Nice.
So I noted that as far as the animation that there was one angle for once where I said McCoy's cheeks look wonky for some reason, just like the angle was.
I didn't notice it.
I think Orions had very weird shaped faces.
Yeah.
Can we just agree to call them Orions for the rest
Yeah,
of the
we can call
podcast?
them that.
Yes.
Unless you're Nick, and then it's just like it's.
I mean, if you
free-for-all.
say it wrong,
it's
that's fine.
It's
but
free for all. Could be.
I don't want to have to try to remember to say it wrong.
Spock
It's
was
like-
also called a pointy-eared encyclopedia.
Yeah.
No, that's what it was. A
I didn't think that was much of an
bastard.
insult. I was like, yeah, he is a pointy-eared encyclopedia. What's your point?
I felt like the
Yeah.
natural line to end to that was that was the one. It's like a pointy-eared bastard.
Yeah, we're,
Oh, D.
And then it was an encyclopedia, and I was just like, wow, okay, yeah, this is a cartoon. So
I feel like it's one of those things that they,
The show Friends.
yeah.
Okay. As opposed to, we don't like Friends and we hate
They
being having
gave Ross
friends.
crap for being a smart guy, and they ripped off Star Trek.
Yes. Everything was on
They
Star Trek.
busted Spock's balls for being a smart person. Like, you pointed your encyclopedia, oh, I'm sorry, I know words.
So on that subject, it doesn't really make any sense that this being first of all in the future, and also
Yes.
this being a doctor who
Yes.
should probably respect science and a bunch of other
But
things.
McCoy doesn't.
Yeah, just-
McCoy is the old country southern.
also,
Yes,
what
which
does
of course
the
is-
mud
Boy mean
on
by
it,
the
it'll be
Middle
just
Ages?
fine.
Is it like, ooh, our time is the Middle Ages,
That's a
or is
good
it like the
question.
Middle Ages?
Yeah.
Middle Ages.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
Because
that's
like
another
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
If you
one of
remember
those.
in Star Trek 4, or
The Voyage Home.
yes, where
the whales, the whale
whales.
movie.
where
It's what people
Scotty is like using the computer and like the mouse.
With the mouse. Computer.
And then
You're missing the visual of me talking to my
yeah,
mouse.
Chekhov falls, gets the concussion.
Yes.
The doctor
The
goes.
nuclear vessels.
Yes. Doctor goes to the hospital and runs into the woman, and he's like, "What are you here for, honey?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm on dialysis." And he's like, "Oh my gosh." And he's like, "Take these pills," and she's cured. And it's like new kidneys grown or something. And I'm
Yes.
just like, yes. So I think he
Don't
feels that
interfere.
don't interfere, but yet
Yeah.
grow some new kidneys for this lady.
It's kind of
Well-
runs into the Hippocratic Oath.
McCoy doesn't get all hung up on that crap.
Thankfully.
Yeah. And I think this episode was one that probably had a decent script that the performance hurt. This isn't the first episode of the animated series I've thought this. It was written by Howard Weinstein,
yeah.
who was 19 when he wrote this, youngest Star
Wow.
Trek writer ever.
Yep.
And he went on to write like 60 Star Trek novels and comic books after
Nice.
this.
Did you like any of
So-
them? Did you read any of them? I don't know if you liked them.
I looked this up right before I came,
Okay.
so I did. I may have, but I didn't look at his.
Let's say the odds are favorable.
Bibliography.
that he has.
One of
Because-
them was Deep. I think it was Deep Domain.
I don't know.
Because he got a thank you for Star Trek IV Voyage Home.
He did. He's on the credits as like special
'Cause
mention.
He wrote an entire novel about Spock and Chekhov going to a planet that was all a SeaWorld.
Say-
He also
say
wrote-
nuclear vessel.
He also wrote heavily for the Deep Space Nine and Voyager comic book runs.
Which he said Deep Space Nine was
his favorite, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And also, again, Star Wars ripped this off in Attack of the Clones
Sure.
with the entire water planet.
Water planet.
I look forward to learning more
Camino,
about
Camino, right?
Camino, yeah.
Camino, yeah, the clones.
Which is actually one of my favorite sequences of that movie, but yeah.
Yes. So just to start out, they had a lot of exposition, and then Spock just like crashes, and they do the very stereotypical dun dun dun.
The music was particularly bad in this episode, but the worst part was when like things were dire and then happy music started.
Yes.
It was like a weird jazz
Why was
version
it
of
an
that.
inappropriate oboe or bassoon?
Yes.
I
That
actually,
was.
I noted the bassoon is a huge hit with the crowd.
Bassoon, that's what it was.
Yes.
It was probably bassoon. I don't
Oh,
know.
can I also point out too is that when Spock
No, you can't.
fainted at the beginning, what started the whole thing?
No, that's right.
It felt like Kirk was making a really bad joke, and then it just looked like his response to it was, "Oh," and he's passed out because it was so bad. And then when they cut to sick bay, I was like, "Oh shit, this is serious!" Like,
That's a great alternate episode. Kirk looks over and Spock, are you okay? Yeah, your joke was just that bad.
so something else I noticed because I haven't watched the series in like years, and I didn't really watch it when I watched
The
it.
animated?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it was on Nick at Night.
At night?
Early in the night.
I almost said that. I was like, but I already said Nick at Night. So anyway, when I was watching it though, I didn't
Himself at
remember
night.
it. But like some of the filmation stuff looked like the Hanna-Barbera stuff, which is very
Yeah.
simple movements.
Sure.
Well,
We-
didn't
we've talked
Hanna-Barbera
about
spring
that
out of
before.
Filmation?
No.
No, they're
No,
separate companies?
Yeah.
I
mean,
didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hanna-Barbera's been around since like they created Tom and Jerry.
Okay,
Right.
so to me, I just thought this was like the same company because they look so similar.
No, now they might be
Filmation,
tied
yeah,
together at some point and then split off, but I don't. But like some of the animation style was kind of same. But I find it funny is that I felt like I was watching Archer at some points because I feel like Archer tries to capture
Yes.
the style like
Tries
that.
to rip
where
off
space
Stargate
goes.
animated
yeah,
series.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But
they're
like
kind
it's
of
way
born-
better animation. Yeah.
They're kind of born out of like C-Lab and so forth.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
that kind
totally.
of like carried on to.
Well,
Exactly.
While we're talking about the animation studios, I do want to mention Norm Prescott, who was it was a co-founder of Filmation, and was a producer on the animated series, voiced the other two Orions besides the captain in this episode.
wow.
Nice.
He was the rare guest star because the animated series didn't have many guest stars.
I think he wrote some of the music.
He does have composer credits.
There you go. My old episode was just a shot of crew people's feet walking. It was just
Oh, yeah.
a knee-level shot of people running.
Yeah.
So,
Well, they actually had a few frames like that in the episode where there was just from the knees down,
Yeah.
like walking along, like here's a transition. Sorry, go ahead.
no. Interestingly,
it's just so
season
bad.
2 has a different director than season 1. This plays into several points you just made.
Okay.
Bill Reed directed the 6 episodes of season 2, but because they were lazy and they reused all their animation title cards, they all still say Hal Sutherland on them,
no.
who directed all of season 1. But in the opening, they say directed by Bill Reed in these 6 episodes. So Hal Sutherland's name's still on them, but he did not direct the last
Wow.
6.
Oh my gosh.
I forgot. I guess we didn't point out that this is the season 2 premiere.
It is the season 2
Oh,
premiere.
yeah, good point.
For those of you that aren't super familiar with the animated series, they did a 16 episode first season and a 6 episode second season.
I will say this though, as much crap as I want to and will and have in my mind, maybe here on the show, give the crap to Filmation for the animation.
Sure.
And again, I know they have budget stuff. I mean, I love Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Oh,
That's
this
just-
was on a
that's horror.
shoestring budget.
You know, yeah, exactly. I completely get it. but they are trying some things, like the design of the Huron. I was just like, that's a damn cool ship.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah,
Totally agree.
now
Okay.
the alien ship looked cool until they started doing the thing. I was like,
Sideways.
sideways. And it's like, it looked like I was like, are they playing freaking Space Invaders?
It very much felt like a video game from the 70s, 80s. Yeah, the Huron, the scale was weird. At first they presented it like it was much bigger than the Enterprise, and then it was almost comparable, but it was like a huge ship with only 3 people on the bridge and only 1 cargo hold.
The bridge was crazy in the background because
Yeah.
the
the
Huron.
Enterprise has a ton of people on the bridge.
Sure.
They had 3, and
3.
they had posters on their wall, and not actual like
I mean, they're
gadgets.
a little more lax than a
O'Shea's
flagship of
punk.
the fleet.
He's punk. He likes he likes his rock bands.
Before we go on to continue further, we got another little bonus little segment because we're live. We're gonna do some Mad Libs.
Ooh.
We have the Star Trek Mad Lib book. I printed off a couple because if you know me, there's no way I'm writing in this book. Dee, why don't you read yours?
All right.
Starting with the title.
Okay, it's called Welcome to Starfleet Academy. All right. Before you set your phasers to running, you've got a lot to do before talking. Starfleet Academy. First of all, you'll have to leave your old squeegees behind. If you're going to spend 42 years in space, you need to start with a clean sabotage. Second, get ready to work.
Points.
It's not all exotic loving aliens and Romulan spooge.
But some of it's Romulan spoosh, right?
That's amazing how well that fits, actually.
just a skosh. Just a skosh of Romulan speech.
You need to lie, and to lie hard. Eventually, you'll be divided into groups and be given a butt chin.
A butt chin.
That determines the color shirt you'll have to wear. Pray you don't get a blue one, or you're gonna get a wooden. That's all it says.
Or you're gonna get
Or-
a wooden.
You're gonna get a wooden?
Yeah.
Good one.
But life at Starfleet Academy is not stinky all the time. You'll meet all kinds of new signs. And remember, hotshots such as James T. Kirk and Brad Pitt have passed through these pipes. You could be next.
That's Admiral
Welcome
Pitt.
to Starfleet Academy.
Fits surprisingly well in places, actually.
Okay, Nick.
All right, I'm gonna do it as Kake, because why not?
Why not?
If you are planning to go on a 5-year gummy bear, you'll need to be sure to bring along some slimy items. Here are a few things not to forget, cadets. Salty underwear. It's very cold in space. Favorite snacks. The replicator food can have a funny poo. Books. It's very hot on the holodeck. Extra money. Romulan Chinese restaurants don't come quickly?
Yes.
Yeah, adverb. Okay. A journal. Actually, crevasse. Okay, a journal. You'll want to keep track of every Mexican restaurant you see. More snacks. Actually, yes, true. Really, that replicator food is sweet. And pooey. Clothing from all tribbles and times. You never know when you'll have to pray back in time. Also, be sure to leave all red Band-Aids at the Riviera. You don't want to be mistaken for a red shirt.
Okay.
So, can tribbles be killed by skinning them? Or could you just, or there'd be, a source of, fur?
I mean, they'd be a great source of fur because they replicate so quickly. You just keep killing them and keep letting them reproduce.
But that's the thing is,
I mean,
much
there's
of them
got to
are
be a
fur?
triple manufactured clothing
Well, I
year out
mean,
there.
you can stab them and cut them open or something, right? I mean, would that do it? I mean,
I don't know.
let me get the 1-star on the phone,
don't
and we'll
know.
get this figured out real
The
Maybe
quick.
Glommer just eats
Maybe
them.
they're just fur. But secondary question, what is Romulan spooge?
It's
Well,
delicious
it's
and
from
it's blue.
Romulan.
If that's not
Surprisingly.
explicit, I don't know what is.
So our last Mad Libs. Las Vegas, the final dinosaur. These are the voyages of the Starship Woos. Its 7-year mission to emote strange new bricks, to seek out new chocolate and new man boobs, to boldly go where no cheetah has gone before. Cue legal music.
wow, nice.
So there are more Mad Libs we will get to in the future episodes. There's some con-specific ones.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Going back to this episode, we were talking about how they had a different director. I thought something really unusual in this scene was there was an extended scene set on the Orion Bridge, just between the Orion officers. And I really liked getting that look at something outside of Starfleet and our main characters.
I had a note there for, I envy the Orions because I'm going to be sensitive to their dialect, their ability to stay rigidly planted while delivering their lines. Yeah, like the arms folded, like every time. It's,
Well, I liked how he could answer his captain's questions without moving from his arms folded stance. I don't need to look at the panel.
Yep.
The thing with going back to the beginning of the thing, they mentioned that there is this disease that's running rampant through the thing.
Yes.
And it is deadly to Vulcans.
Yes.
Why didn't you take precautions?
Like what?
Wash your hands.
Okay.
Why
Sneeze
don't
into
we
your elbow.
No, someone
keep
went to
him-
that viewfinder and
Condoms.
just put their
keep him
It was Eric's.
quarantined?
It's all Eric's fault.
Keep him
Oh,
quarantined.
it seemed like they didn't know until it happened. I think it was more like a research
You think
thing.
you would check?
I thought it was
going
another
back
one of
to the
those
whole-
get to know your Vulcan.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing too. So this is where she's not wrong. Is that would be incorrect, except for like everyone's like, oh, like or what's his name? McCoy is like, oh yeah, well it's this. Like so people know of it, and it's like you'd figure that you would have a flu, the equivalent of a flu shot for this.
It's no worse than
before you go
pneumonia,
out.
but
Yeah.
it's deadly for Vulcan.
all they have is kidney
Spock's only
pills.
half Vulcan, so that should have come into discussion.
So
If I-
exactly,
It didn't
that's what I wanted to
because
bring up.
speciesism.
If he's half Vulcan, he should
that's-
have double
yes.
the amount of time
Yeah.
with the.
It might not be
transfusion.
double, but there should definitely be some differences that I would think would slow it down. This episode to me felt like there was not an urgency. I know we got a lot of lines
Maybe
about we're running out of time, but I didn't feel the
Like,
energy
maybe
in
I
the
thought, I
lines.
thought the bargaining section was kind of
The
kind
bargaining, yeah, but for most of
With
the
the-
episode, I think it was an acting thing.
Of
it was a drill.
Yeah.
True.
A drill? Spock was fine. We were just testing your reflexes.
The whole thing with 15 minutes left, they were like, 15 minutes, and they're like, 15 minutes or nothing. I'm like, are you kidding me? What is.
Well, they had to prepare the bomb. I got the 15-minute because I had to prepare the bomb.
Yeah, well. So, yeah.
Marianne disagrees.
Yeah.
They set us up the bomb.
The
The bomb backpack.
one thing that I noticed, it was on his belt, because remember, he pushed his belt.
Well,
Oh, that was so
he said the
awkward.
crystals from his backpack.
Oh, okay.
He's like,
Which I kept looking at the backpack when Sky was beaming up the crystals to see if there'd be like a flicker, and there
oh
wasn't.
yeah, there
Yeah,
wasn't.
And I guess there shouldn't be. It should just be inside, but I wanted a flicker on the
The
backpack.
whole budget went to that fight scene of them like moving fluidly for like.
I mean,
3
it wasn't a
seconds.
bad fight scene compared to the live action fight scenes we had
Yeah.
to sit through in the 60s.
So if we're getting
Yeah, we needed that music. That's why the fight scene didn't work for me.
well, the animated version of the course that's bam, bam, bam.
Far inferior.
So related to the fight, so there were a couple of things I had. First of all, when they were talking about what they're intending to do, the asteroid exchange we're going to make, remind me of the
meatballs.
episode of Community where they were doing the grifting.
Oh.
the briefcase swapping
Yes.
riddles. We have to make sure you can't see my emotions on the.
I agree with Nick, though. The asteroids were all weirdly round.
And they look like meatballs, and I was
And
just
they're
like,
meatballs.
look, this is great animation for the time, and God love them, this is almost better effects probably than the live action show in some cases.
True.
In some cases. Other things that annoy me, when they went warp 9, it's just like the stars are still moving the same speed.
Yeah, they
You're
didn't do the warp.
you'd even
They didn't do the warp
do you
animation.
try? And then the fight scene, I was like, oh, budget went to that.
Yeah, they didn't do the warp
It
animation.
was, yeah.
Speaking of the asteroids, though, when they beamed down, it looked like the rock features were flat cardboard.
Yes, that was.
Even though they
That's
were
funny.
animated.
One of them looked like Disney.
Yes,
Disney
the Magic
Castle.
Kingdom Castle.
Yep.
So I was going to say, still on the asteroid. Actually, this is a good segue into that.
Sure.
I had a canning,
On the butt-chin?
a canning question for you.
butt-chin.
I put Jimmy, comma.
Yes.
Please explain the Green Lantern style auras they have around them. when they're-
Force fields, because there's no atmosphere on the asteroids.
I mean, did they explain
Personal
that
force
before they?
fields. No, they didn't explain it, but personal force fields, so they could breathe.
Is that a thing that's come up before? Can they do
No,
that?
it hasn't. He's.
No, has it come up before? I thought it did. It definitely comes up in other Star Trek.
What is the Union referred to? Is it Starfleet, like the collective?
The
of all
United Federation of Planets?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There we go. The Federation.
The Orions are not members of the UFP. They're
They're
neutral.
obviously neutral.
They're neutral.
All right.
Although we know what Orions are. Clearly, they've come up many times before. They're even mentioned back in Enterprise. So how do they not recognize the Orion ship? Was it like a totally new design that didn't look anything like old designs of Orion
I
ships?
thought it looked like a woman's reproductive system, perhaps.
Well, yeah, it did. But I want to know why the Enterprise didn't recognize it.
I think this is a good time for your fashion beat.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
fashion.
yes.
I do have one there.
Fashion.
Yeah. So the insignia on.
yes.
Yeah, the
So
insignia.
go into it.
So they do have different shapes for different ships. Even though last week's episode in the zoo, they had the Delta emblem that the Enterprise has, which by the time of next gen, all of Starfleet's adopted the Delta sign of the Enterprise. So it made sense maybe that other ship had already adopted it, and this ship hasn't yet because they were further down the list because they were just a freighter.
So you're talking about the
actual shape that this thing's
Delta?
The Delta is the one that's traditional on the Enterprise.
Right, so on the Huron,
But in the
they have,
original
like, that
series,
kind of,
they all have different shapes.
What?
Yeah, you never noticed that?
No.
It
So
is
they
strange.
do. However, what bothered me about the Huron ones were one of them was in a red shirt, but they still had the little star inside the Delta instead of the engineering symbol inside the Delta. By next gen, they had adopted the Enterprise as the fleet-wide insignia.
I mean, did they say that like there was a contest or something, or they just?
They didn't, and in Discovery, they're wearing the Enterprise one as well. So it seems like, based on just fan theory, that for a brief time around when Kirk was around, they gave them all different shapes. Whereas before they'd all been the Delta, and because the Enterprise was the flagship, it got to keep the Delta while everybody else adapted, and then they went back.
Also, isn't Discovery part of the Kelvin timeline?
No, it is in the original timeline. Discovery, there's been a big complaint about the uniforms, that they're way closer to Enterprise than original series, even though they take place like 6 years after Enterprise, only 10 years before original series.
They did that in the movie.
But because they're a science vessel, they're just further down the list. And when Pike showed up on the Enterprise, he was wearing the traditional gold of the original series. So, yeah. Anyway.
So I was noticing one thing that was odd that I fuck knock to come in instead of wee you and then come in. It was like that was really
usually just walk right in.
one of the two.
Never locked.
Yeah, none of the quarters have
Charlie
locks.
X never had a problem. Just walk
That's
in.
why Janice Rand got sexually assaulted 4 episodes in a row in season 1.
One last thing is they talked so much about tapes.
Tapes?
They like, Uhura, get the tapes and take them back to the thing. It's like, I know it was the 70s and we didn't have anything like a disc or anything, but I just, it's like, could you be a little bit more forward thinking here?
It was written by futurists. Couldn't they like conceive of a future where there's no tapes?
Nope.
It is
Not in the 70s.
Think about it. I mean, it is so hard. I mean, if you grew up in that era, it's just to conceive of things like I'm like looking at an iPad right now. I remember when I was a little kid in the 80s. I used to dream of like a device where I could just like load up just.
You know why you have that
like
iPad?
a jukebox. It would like have any song or movie or whatever you could do. It was like a thing like that, like a huge box. I was like, oh.
You know why you have that iPad though?
Oh my God! Is it Star Trek?
Because in the original series, they were carrying around tablets on the bridge and signing off on
And
them.
Steve Jobs was just,
like a scattershot kind of thing, though.
Steven, alternate episode.
Oh, it was just Vina was involved.
Vina seduced them and delayed them.
just whenever
And Kirk slept with her.
Yeah, I just think every episode would be better with Vina.
I don't disagree.
So has Kirk slept with any women yet in the animated series?
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, there was the thing. There's the thing. No, he was.
He almost did. Any other notes?
I had one last one.
Okay.
McCoy's point about the blood, the joke at the end, where he's like, if you had, you should get rid of that. Like, should you get rid of your Vulcan blood and put in English, human blood instead?
You're so Anglocentric, Keith.
No, that's
I know. I'm
my
kidding.
point. No, actually, no. The thing is, the series is that kind of thinly veiled, kind of Anglocentric kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever.
The Middle Ages, big
They
things.
talk a lot in meters instead of yards and inches.
What is with this iambic crap? We should just.
I hate meters.
I mean, it is interesting. All of Star Trek's an iambic.
I guess it's Star Wars, yeah.
I already
Pentameter,
messed it up. Yes. Kidding. Okay, let's get to our rankings. Kidding. Men, women of Star Trek. Steven, you were still on Randy Bryce.
I'm gonna stick with her. I was hoping for some nice, sweet Orion.
You mean Orion? Okay.
She's like, I am
It'd
done.
be somebody like
Sorry.
Devna or.
I'm sticking with
Vina, but
Devna.
no.
I'm sticking
Yeah.
with Devna. I'm sticking
Yeah,
with
there's
my
nothing
Orion.
to get better than Devna.
Keith, you're on Sick Crewwoman.
What?
I'm still going to try to fix her. So,
Okay.
all right. For context here.
You can tell me later.
All right.
Marianne, last time you were on, you were still with the Vendorian. Would you like to change?
Tentacle monster?
Yes.
Let it ride.
Of course, the tentacle monster rides. Nick, you haven't been on the animated series, but did anybody catch your attention?
For what reason?
for a
It could-
attraction of
for-
some sort.
Yes,
For fun reasons.
I mean, O'Shea. I was
Either
tempted
way.
by
So
O'Shea.
for fun reasons,
you know
I
what?
would
I'm
like to
changing
lay with
mine.
them later.
I'm changing mine to O'Shea. I like the beard.
the guy in the Huron.
Yes, the captain of the Huron.
Yeah.
They survived the pirate
I'm gonna
attack.
keep it. I'm gonna keep it classy and go with that one weird alien guy that I was mimicking for.
Oh,
You
Eric.
can't get more
He's
classy
a
than that.
lead, and we
Right?
normally wouldn't let you have a lead, but he's such a minor lead, and
Yeah.
Nick doesn't
Yeah,
watch
he's a
the
minor
animated.
lead.
So let's let Nick have it.
I might as well.
D, what you think?
I just had a weird fixation on the massage therapist nurse.
Yeah.
Chapel.
Chapel
Yeah.
again, a lead,
She's
but we'll
more
let
of
you
a
have we'll
lead,
let you
yeah.
have it.
The other alternative was
It's kind of a minor lead.
The other alternative for me would be the girl who was on the Huron,
Yeah, who looked just like Chapel.
who looked like Chapel, and I sound like Mirage.
It is Magel.
Magel
It was
Barrett.
Magel.
Yeah.
Hey,
5.
So half of you probably don't have any reference for this, but our last thing we're gonna do is rank the episode. Let's start in the middle. Let's start with the Infinite Vulcan. Better, worse than the Infinite Vulcan.
So that's where Spock.
Giant Spock 2.
Spock
Giant
and,
Spock 2.
I've seen that one. I would say better.
Better than Giant
This one-
Spock.
This one was better than
I
Giant
agree
Spock.
with Marianne.
Yeah.
was that the one where they had where they first had the
The-
diving creatures and stuff?
Yeah.
Yes, the
The
dragons.
dragons.
The first appearance of the dragons.
Yeah.
The dragons that I hate so much that keep coming back.
Yeah. It's because you don't like that. Come on,
It
Geeky.
didn't feel like a lot was happening in this one though. So I mean,
No.
it wasn't very ambitious as far as like the story they were trying to tell.
Yeah.
It just
So you guys would go below?
it was almost like a tiny Spock's brain, like
Okay.
I think so.
You'd go below?
Yeah.
Keith?
below Infinite Vulcan.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're kind of divided.
How do we break ties?
I'm just going to side with them.
Okay.
I mean,
No,
I'm tempted to
Well,
go
okay, you
above,
don't have
but
you don't have the
They don't
perspective.
have-
honestly, well, they don't have the frame of reference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't
So-
have
Are they all like this one? I'm gonna just say it's
yeah.
There are some.
What's the next one?
There's a handful that are good, but most of them are. Going lower, more tribbles, more troubles. is the next
Oh.
lowest. That one was bad.
Spot?
Yeah.
I do think this was better than More Tribbles, More Troubles. More Tribbles, More Troubles was really bad.
fellas. I have it worked out. So we have one whole episode where Spock gets big, but what do we do for the next episode? What if they all get super small? And this time it's all of them. And Gene's just like,
Those were 4 episodes apart. More Tribbles, More Troubles. Better or worse?
Better.
I said better. But I really hated Tribbles.
I'm gonna side with you guys.
So, I'm partial to tribbles, so I would say this is below that.
Butter.
Doesn't Mud come back?
You said it
to
was
the
better?
triple one?
Butter.
Okay.
Is that different episode?
Yeah, Mud's right below Tribbles.
Okay.
Cyrano Jones comes back.
Well, they're both. There's a Mud episode and Cyrano Jones comes back in Tribbles.
Oh, okay. That's
so
what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
we're ranking it between Infinite Vulcan and More Tribbles, More Troubles. Yeah. Which is number 8 of 17 so far. Next week, we will be talking the episode Beb. The Enterprise crew is being observed as their suitability to meet with advanced civilization. So, we'll be talking about Beb, more super advanced species. Again. It just happens so much.
It's not a good start.
Until then, live long.
And prosper.
It's All Been Done presents.
Who's got the time?